Good evening. This is T News. As you know, prophets and apostles everywhere are repenting in sackcloth and ashes, weeping because they have been misled, because they have been telling you that President Trump will have another term, and they have said that this comes from God. But now that President Trump is not going to have another term, they're repenting in sackcloth and ashes because they have misled you, and they have deceived you, and they have said that God told them when God did not tell them. Is this the news? In your dreams. Okay, here's the real news.
In Isaiah, it says that the God test is that he says things and declares them even before they happen. That's the God test. So we have news before it happens. We call those prophecies. We have inside information if we'll just trust it. What are these prophecies? What's happening right now? Maybe you've heard some, maybe you haven't heard any. But oh, brothers and sisters, let me tell you, God is speaking like in all of my life have I ever seen or heard. Prophecies are coming out right and left. Ones before the election. Prophets that I never heard of or knew much about, some that I did. And it's all kinds of groups of people coming out saying, the Lord said, thus saith the Lord, time and time again, in dreams and in visions. And people who have reliable track records that they hear the word of the Lord and they walk holy in their lives. That's an important factor. And every one of those kept saying over and over and over for weeks, months, some even years before this election that President Trump would have a second term. But some also clarified it more specifically, that it would be surrounded with conflict and that it would be a struggle. There was one that I know of that actually said, and it will go to the Supreme Court. So we thank God for these words. They aid us, they help us, and they let us know that God is very involved in the affairs and in the government of mankind.
Here's my prediction. I'm going to give a prophecy. I just got a prophecy. See that from the dog who is talking to me. My dog is talking to me. He is saying that these people will twist their words. These people will find ways to protect what they said. And they will use such excuses as this. President Trump legitimately got the election. But because of voter fraud and because of so much corruption and demonic activity in this world, he lost it. Mark my words. Watch for this. Because the dog just told me. All right, I got a special guest tonight. You are going to love this special guest. He has had visions. His first vision came when he was on an all-liquid fast for 40 days. He only had milkshakes for 40 days. And the very first day, on the very first day, because he is so spiritual, God gave him a vision of heaven and took him to heaven. And he has since then had several visions of heaven. And today, he's going to tell us about one of those visions. Ted, what do you got to say today about your vision?
Hi. All right, so I had another vision last night. Actually, it was a dream. And in my dream, Angel Mortimer came to me and he said, let's go to heaven. And I said, oh, good. I like heaven. And so he grabbed me by the arm and we went up to heaven. And the last couple times I was able to sneak away and see some really awesome rooms. But this time he evidently knew all about that because he wasn't letting go of me. And so the only way I could figure out how I could get away from him is I said, I have to go to the bathroom. And he said, okay, hurry up. And he took me to a room. And it was the bathroom of heaven. And I thought, this is cool. And I went inside. It was awesome. It was like out of this world. And so I stayed there a couple of minutes. Then I When I was done, I opened up the door real so slightly, and I saw that he was not paying attention. And I was like, oh, good. And it just so happened right next door, behind his back, so I could get around and get back to the other door, was the body parts room, the one I had been to before. And I just love the body parts room. This is where, okay, if you listen to some preachers, they'll say, when you get healed, there is a body parts room that people have seen in heaven. And when you get healed, those body parts come to you. And so I wanted to go back and see those guys. And so I went, snuck into that door and opened and walked in, closed the door. And all the body parts recognized me because I had been there before. And they were so happy. They all kind of thumped or whatever, and because they couldn't talk except the mouths. There's a couple of mouths that were saying, "Hi, Ted," and I'd say, "Hi, mouths," and "Hi, everybody," and what? So I noticed this time that there was a door beyond that room, and I said, "What's in that door?" They said, "Don't go in there." Oh, no. If anybody says don't go in there, I have to. I just have. Come on, this is, nobody's ever been here before. And they said, and they even told me, nobody's ever been here before. No earth person has ever been in that room. And you should not go there because it's not good. But I had to go there. So I went through. A few arms tried to grab me and hold me back from going in, but I shook them off. And I opened the door and quickly shut the door behind me as I walked in the next room. And there on shelves, on the floor, it seemed like desks in the entire room were body parts again. But these were not normal body parts. These were withered and deformed. And they just were body parts that did not look right. And it just was within 30 seconds, I suppose, because I was looking at them, I was staring at them. And within 30 seconds, all of a sudden, I heard the door behind me close. I thought I had already closed it. So I turned around and looked, and there was no door. It was completely gone. I was in this room without any exit. And all of a sudden, the parts they must have noticed me, because all of a sudden, they're starting to move, and in weird ways. And I said, "What is going on?" And there was a mouth in the mouth section. I said, "You should not have come here." And I said, "Why?" We are the body's rejects. When somebody gets healed on this earth, on your earth, when somebody gets healed on your earth, and a good body part is sent down, the bad body part is returned here. And I said, "Oh, okay." And then all of a sudden I noticed some disappearing. And I said, "What's that? How come they're disappearing?" He says, "None of us last very long here. We usually go right back. Because healing doesn't last long with most." And then I noticed that many of the body parts are starting to come toward me, those that could. Some rolled towards me, some crawled toward me, and I was scared because I had no way to leave. And all of a sudden, out of arms and legs and different body parts, it was like veins and arteries started coming out of them, like long tentacles. And they reached out toward me and actually hit me and then entered my body and sucked them toward me. And all of a sudden, I found that I was gaining body parts, one right after the other. And I started screaming and yelling, "Help!" And I thought it was going to be there forever. But But all of a sudden the door appeared and opened, and there was Mortimer, the angel. And he took me back home. And I woke up. But I found that one of those body parts did go back with me. I want to show you. I call him the hand.